Any injury that's happened in the history of humans can be explained by this graph, looking at the load versus the capacity of the person who got injured. And when the injury happens, we can assume or almost guarantee that the load placed on that individual exceeded their capacity to handle load. So looking at this graph, we can get a clear picture of how multiple factors can affect the amount of load that's being placed on your system and how a number of things contribute to injury and exceeding your capacity. This will allow you to have a easier and clearer conversation with your members and have a better understanding yourself to look at everything that leads to injury and start helping to prevent it. So, represented by these blocks are loads that are placed on your system. The first three that we're going to talk about exist before you do anything in your day. You wake up and they're already there. Okay? This dotted line is going to represent your capacity. Anything that happens or exceeds that dotted line is going to produce pain and essentially injury. Anything below that, and we're okay. So, the first load placed on our system is going to be any anatomical defects that we might have. These are things that already exist, right? Something that's already happened to you physically. You've rolled your ankle in the past, you've herniated a disc, you've got a torn labrum. These things exist, there's nothing we can do about them. We wake up with them every day. Anything that affects how your body moves or has changed the shape or the structure of your body, that's going to be represented by an anatomical defect block at the bottom. Moving up, we have our stress, our diet, and our sleep. This essentially represents our ability to recover from the loads that are placed on our system on a daily basis. How much you sleep and how well you sleep, what you eat and how much of it you eat, right? And your stress, not just your physical stress in and out of the gym, but your mental and emotional stress as well. That can be a larger box for some folks and much smaller for others, but we pretty much all do have some level. Moving up from there, we have our functional diagnosis. Different than the anatomical defects, we're looking at a functional diagnosis. Us as coaches are interested in your functional ability to move, not necessarily what specific muscle, tissue, etc. might be defective, but are you able to produce force, get into positions, and move in and out of those positions well or not? That's going to represent your functional diagnosis, right? So we're not looking at specific injuries. We're not looking at a named muscle, tendon, body part. We're looking at, can you get into this position? Can you move the load the way you're supposed to be relative to your body? Okay, functional diagnosis. So all three of these things exist before we even wake up. Then we go on with our day, right? We do what we need to do around the house, right? That places a little bit of a load on our system. We go to work for a full day, 8 hours, whatever it is. No matter how much you love your job, no matter how rewarding it is, or maybe not, right? That's still going to take effort and place a load on your system, a fairly big load. Okay. Cool. Now we're done with work. We're going to go to the gym. We do burpees and we do wall balls, and we're good. Right? We're starting to feel a little fatigued. The low back's getting a little achy. Maybe that old knee injury is like talking to you a little bit, making some noise, but we're okay. Right? Then we decide to work on some snatches afterwards. And now we're here. We hit a couple snatches. Oh my God, my shoulder is killing me. Oh, I don't understand. That really just put me in a bad spot. And maybe this happens a couple times. So you go to the doctor, say, Doc, my shoulder's messed up. Well, how did that happen? Well, I felt fine all day. I went to work, I did some stuff around the house, and then I went to the gym. Oh, is that where you heard? Yeah, I heard in the gym. What were you doing? I did some burpees and some wall balls. Felt fine. It was a hard workout, but I felt great. And then I went and I did some snatches, and that's when it started to hurt. Oh, well, what's a snatch, doctor asks you? Well, that's when you throw the barbell up over your head and catch it with your arm straight. Wow, that sounds pretty intense. How much weight were you doing that with? I don't know, maybe 85, 95 pounds. And to your doctor, whoa, you're just throwing 95 pounds over your head and you hurt your shoulder? I'm not surprised. Just don't do that anymore. Cool, great. The problem with that is snatches are something that are important to you, right? So we had this box of our pre-existing conditions that already exist. The rest of these boxes represent our wants and our needs. These are the things that we are going to do. We need to go to work. We need to do work around our house. We want to go to the gym. It's important. We want and need to do all of these things, right? Your doctor may or may not understand that. And if he doesn't, his solution is simple. Keep you out of pain. Make sure you don't get hurt and cover his own ass. Just don't do snatches anymore. Problem solved, right? But that really doesn't solve your problem. It solves his problem, but not yours. So what can we do to make a little bit more room here for your wants and needs to fit under your capacity? Well, let's look at our pre-existing conditions first. Anatomical defects, they happened in the past. Nothing we can do. They exist. Now, that can affect you more if you identify as those anatomical defects. I have a bad back because I have 3 herniated discs. So I can't deadlift. There's so many people that say that. I have 3 herniated discs and I can deadlift, and there are a lot of other people that can do that, right? It just matters how you manage these things. But they exist. The load still exists, right? Can't do anything about them. So we look at our stress diet and our sleep. For ourselves and for our clients, can we affect that? Absolutely, right? The conversation is the education and showing how important basic lifestyle guidelines are. We can make a huge change there, right? We can help make a huge change with our clients. We can eliminate this almost completely, but let's say, give or take, we can cut this in half. Great. Functional diagnosis. Can we make people more mobile, make them move better, improve their force capacity from a balance standpoint, make them stronger? Absolutely, right? Maybe we can make them perfect movers. Maybe not. Let's say we get it down to half again. Cool. So now this is our baseline every day, instead of our baseline being up here. Cool. So now I do what I need to do around the house. I still go to work for 8 hours. I do my burpees and wall balls, and I do my snatches. And guess what? I'm good to go. Cool. So I do that for a little while, and I get used to it, and I'm like, yeah, man, I feel great. I'm going to go camping this weekend. Instead of taking my rest day, I'm going to go for a hike, and I'm going to camp, etc. And all of a sudden, boom. Now I'm in pain again. Well, you know what? That stress diet and sleep and functional diagnosis stuff, that didn't work. I'm still in pain. What did we not do? Right? We approached this from the bottom. We eliminated some of the problems. The other thing that we can do as coaches that doctors can't do necessarily is increase capacity. Through progressive, continuous work, we can increase capacity. So now that dotted line is here. Now that hike is okay, and we're not in pain. Right? So this two-pronged approach has now given us this much more room where our baseline was here and our capacity was here. And this was our space for our wants and needs. Now, our baseline is down here. Our capacity is here. So our ability to do what we want and need to do is that much greater.